Hello, this is Runa here. Welcome. Here I am in my office in Iceland, and I have another wonderful person with me in my live interview, all regarding to the event that we're setting up in Iceland at the Blue Lagoon, September 6th, called the Small Business Branding Day. I got no other than one of my ATL buddies, Deri. And just to tell you a little bit about Deri, he is an international speaker. He's not only that, he's a best-selling author. He's a CEO and advisor to hundreds of businesses. I first met Deri a couple of years ago, and instantly he gave me the impression that here's a guy that is the strategy guy. And that's actually what he's called as well. He is the strategy man. For me, he's the strategy guy. Well, anyway, he lives a life of adventure, both in business and in life. He understands that to get anywhere in life, you have to take risks. But strategy provides the bridge between safety and opportunity. I have noticed that with everything that you do, Deri, that is exactly who you are. So welcome to the little interview, live interview today.
Hey, Runa, great to be here. Looking forward to it.
Tell me one thing, Deri. Tell me a little bit, or let our audience hear a little bit about your background and your life as the strategy man.
Yes, it's mainly because Deri Llewellyn-Davies doesn't really translate across the world in my speaking circle, so we had to have a better brand for it. And as this is all about brand, Runa, you'll appreciate it a little bit more. So the strategy man came from a point that strategy is really at the core of everything I do. In business, yes, but also in life. You know, I've accomplished some amazing adventures around the world, from climbing some of the highest mountains in the world to running across the Sahara Desert and doing an Ironman, and all of that strategy too. The relationships we'll talk about later, a bit of life balance and stuff, that strategy. So I feel that strategy is a powerful word, and it's the core of everything really that I do, certainly, and all my clients do. But really it comes from a point of experience, Daruna, because my background came out of the corporate world, going through $4 billion companies up to boardroom level, running 20 of my own companies, advising now over 250 one-on-one and speaking to thousands. And that's not done really to impress the audience, but more to impress upon them that the stuff I'm talking about has come from experience. What I've got is because I've seen so much and done so much and failed so much and kind of screwed up so much along the way. That's where my perspective comes from. And I think that's the greatest thing I bring to business, which is perspective. And also the fact that it's okay. I think a lot of business owners are slightly trapped or slightly, you know, scared of failure, lonely, not understanding that the stuff that they're going through is actually normal. And I'm trying to bring the lid off that and really empower the entrepreneurs globally right now. That's my big purpose.
How do you, so really all of this experience that you have you have in the business world has obviously made you the expert that you are. But can you tell us why strategy? I mean, where did that really pop into your mind?
I think the word strategy has always fascinated me. I studied my MBA and did strategy, and it's a word that's been bounced around a lot, and actually I think a word that a lot of people don't understand. I think they understand it, but they really don't. For me, when I boiled it all back to what was making me successful, what really cut me across from the rest was the ability to plan and execute. So, and that, you know, let's just get that one out of the way. What is strategy? You know, strategy, the dictionary definition of strategy is it's a plan. That's it. Let's not overcomplicate this, right? So this is about planning, but for a major result. So strategy is about planning for the big thing. Now, for me, I'm a big thinking guy, right? And I know you are too. You know, you're the big thinking gal, right? So we think big, and we want to empower big things in this world. So, and a lot of business owners, they come in with these big ideas. Unfortunately, without a plan behind them and without executing upon that, it just stays as a wish or a whim or an illusion, really. And I'm all about making the big stuff happen. And I think for me, strategy is the bridge. Strategy is the core of everything, which brings the big stuff alive and enables it. So I kind of use the word strategy because I think it's a word that a lot of people think they want, like, maybe even use, and there's a bit of intrigue around it. And that's a big part of everything I do in my brand, which is a slight element of intrigue. So that's where strategy came from. And really, I think strategy is at the core of everything.
Yeah, having a plan, not just a wish. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. So, and having a plan for business owners, I think that most business owners, small business owners, I think we know that we're supposed to have this. But I think many of us, I can at least speak for myself at a certain point in my life, and with many of my clients, is they are very unsure of how to do that and how to start even with the whole thing. So, what is your take on that? How do you start this thing?
This is, I think, most of the people listening to this will be in the business space, probably entrepreneurs, business owners. And when you started, you did have a plan. Most, you don't just start one day and go, oh, I don't know, I was gonna pick up the phone today and have a go at something. There is a plan in the early days. Now it might be very loose, but it's I want to do this, and I know I've got to sort out these few things, and then you get on with it and you start executing. Mm-hmm. That's where it goes wrong for most. So everyone has the ability to plan, but most entrepreneurs never then take themselves back out to then review that plan and work out if it's working and kind of guide it forward. There's a myth around business plans, so don't get me started on this. I'm not talking about a business plan here. I am anti-business plans. I don't believe they work anymore in the new world. They're long and boring, and most people won't write them. And entrepreneurs, just most entrepreneurs will just, the fact of sitting down and writing a long document of a business plan will just freak them out.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just actually going to go into that regarding business plan, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's not that's not. Oops, let me just put that on silent. That's not what we're talking about here. So it's this is why everything I do is on one single page, right? Because the moment you write that plan, it's out of date. Mm-hmm. The moment you write it, you go out and then you do some more stuff, because you alluded to it just now, Runa, which is we start off and we do stuff. It's what I call, most entrepreneurs are in the hamster wheel of business, right? You get on doing stuff, and guess what? As soon as you start moving business, you get busy. And there's very few entrepreneurs I know who aren't busy. So you get busy doing stuff, and busy and busy and busy, and you become on a hamster wheel. So then you become very, very tactical. Now you are still planning, but you're planning on a very, very short time frame. You're planning, shit, what have I got to do for this week? What have I got to do for tomorrow? What have I got to do for today? What have I got to do for next week? It's that the planning cycle becomes really, really tight. And that's what I call the hamster wheel of business. So most entrepreneurs are planning, they're just planning really tactically in the moment. Now what my role is, and this is the role of strategy is a plan, but for the major result, is to be able to pull entrepreneurs out once in a while in a rhythm. I'm a big fan of the quarterly rhythm and the monthly rhythm. It's just, you've got to pull yourself out of your business once a month, look around and assess that point. We were talking before this call started, Runa, and we were saying, you've just got to go, right, what's working right now, what's not working right now, and then maybe you need to go on a different path. Whereas a lot of people, if they're on the hamster wheel, they'll just keep doing stuff and they won't even know if it's the right stuff anymore. And actually, if you can just take that time to look at your business from a higher level on a regular basis and dial that in, you'll find that a lot of the stuff you're doing ain't working anymore, or you could be doing it a lot better, or you've gone in the wrong direction. I think a lot of people build the wrong businesses. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a tadpole, and everything I do with strategy, as you know, Runa, is on one single page.
Yeah, which I absolutely love, by the way.
Thank you. Well, it's my passion, and it's that whole. I think it was, to be frank, it was more of a challenge. I was so peed off with the whole business plan stuff. I was like, I'm sure we can get this on a page. So it was more of a challenge, and it works. And that's, I think, for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are like, okay, I can do a page, and they can. You can do one single page. Now it takes time because you've got to really think through to distill it down. But then you can just start working it. And then if you change, you just change one element of the page and move on. Whereas a business plan, you'd have to go to page 32 and rewrite page 32, and that's dead. That's not going to work anymore. So The
There's
pages.
bureaucrats.
Exactly, and that's not what entrepreneurs want.
No, and it's not going to make your business run at all, not at all. But I remember when I first got acquainted with your strategy and with your methodology was how beautifully you set it all up with the purpose of the business, where the heart is the business in the business, and how the values and all the core stuff that everyone basically knows is needed in the business. It's there in all businesses, but I think the ones who are really getting it out there are the ones who are aware of them and are using it and are holding themselves accountable to what they originally set out to do. And so that then doing that on one page was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I loved your book, by the way, as well, if someone read that one. So why would you then say from this that most small businesses fail?
Mm. Yeah, this is, and I don't know what the statistics are in Iceland or in America or whatever, but I've looked at global statistics on this, and I think they're the same globally. Every country we seem to look at seems to be similar, and the failure rates in business are horrendous. Now, we've seen stats from failure of 60% of businesses to 80% of businesses in the first 3 years, and is that similar stats over in Iceland, Runa?
Um, I am not exactly. I don't have right the figures here, but we have a lot of startups and going on, and I think that actually there's a lot of creativity going on in Iceland. So,
Mm. And it's the
I'm
creative
sure
ones.
yeah.
There's a huge statistics around the creative industries failing more. And so we've got this, we've looked at this, we've looked at global trends. Now we've got some data around this. This came from a global study. And because the reason I wanted to know why, now I had my own conclusions on this. This is why strategy on a page came from, which was trying to reduce the failure rates. Because if you had certain things dialed in your business, then, for instance, purpose, as you mentioned there, I think a lot of businesses fail because they started up for the wrong reasons in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can grab those entrepreneurs and startups before they even begin and go, why are you setting this business up? And so in the early days, and I did this in my 20s when I first set my business, I set it up and it was brutal. I was doing it for the money.
Uh-huh.
That was it. I wanted freedom. It was like, screw the corporate world. I just want my own business. Spotted an opportunity which I could make money in. I didn't have the passion behind it. I wasn't adding true service and value in doing it, and I didn't have the lifestyle piece around it, which is the other elements of purpose I talk about a lot. So, and that's fine. You can get in there, and you can certainly be excitable for a while and stuff. But when the shit hits the fan and the dark days come, which will with all businesses, because running businesses are tough for the first few years. And let's not shirk away from that. It's hard work, but it's worth it if you get it right. But in those few years, when the dark times come and you haven't got a passion for what you do and you're not adding service in what you do, that's where the failure rates come from. But so purpose for me is a massive part of the failure rates. So the global stats come out very interesting though. So they did a survey around why businesses fail. Now imagine there's 100 businesses set up and between 60 and 80 of them are going to fail. That's pretty brutal. And the reason is 46% of those fail because of incompetence. Not knowing what they don't know. Now, what we know, when we talk about strategy, I'm talking about the spectrum of strategy now, which is sales, marketing, operations, finance, and people. And most people will set up business because they have a skill. The majority of business owners are what I call technician business owners. They're really good at something. They're really passionate about something typically. They want to do something in their space. Like you are hugely skilled and passionate in the whole branding space. Okay, so you came from the marketing piece. You're really good at that. You're awesome at that. Now, most people then will be by default, because we can't be good at everything, will be poor at some of the other areas. And those areas are usually finance.
Yeah.
The creatives. You talked about creatives in Iceland. If you're creative, finance ain't going to be so good for you, right? So when we're starting to talk cash flows and all the rest of it, people, there'll be tumbleweed going through the room. The people won't want to listen to that. And there'll be bad talent management, which is getting the right talent in and deliverables and all the rest of it. And then there's a question mark in the sales and marketing space. Typically, someone who's a good salesperson usually aren't so good at marketing, or someone who's great at marketing might not have the sales skills. So there's going to be this skills gap. And when you pile into business and you just crack on and you don't fill those gaps and you think you can do everything as a business owner and you try to do everything yourself, and that incompetence and not knowing is actually one of the biggest reasons of failure. And the second piece, which is 30% of the failure rate, is because of unbalanced experience and people skills, which is not knowing how to recruit talent, not knowing how to manage talent, not knowing how to bring people in. Because we're not taught any of this stuff. No. So finance and people skills are about 76% of the failure rates in business right now. And that's why we focus on those two areas. We cover the whole spectrum of strategy, but those two are my hot ones right now.
Yeah.
They can make the biggest difference.
And I was talking to Suki yesterday and Nick the day before that, and actually we talked a lot about building teams and how you can, the importance of building teams with different skill sets and different, skills and energy around them, depending on which one.
Absolutely. And Nick's work, Nick and Suki, I love those guys, and it's they're absolutely spot on, particularly with Nick's work around the whole energy side of things. We use another tool similar to his, and I'll be using his soon because I know Joe Simpson's using his tools now. But that energy, understanding the profile of the people in the teams and understanding the energy of the people in the teams, God, when you get that right, it is powerful stuff, powerful stuff. But most people haven't even got to that level, Runa. You've got to get the right person in the business. Most people do not know how to recruit, or they've recruited bad. And sadly, a lot of the businesses I walk into, at least 10 to 20% of the staff needs to go because they've just recruited bad. It's not that the people are bad or the staff are bad. It's because of bad recruitment.
Aligning with the whole thing.
And not aligned. This is why, on the page I start with purpose and values is the people if your people in your business are not aligned to why you exist and what you stand for in values terms, then your business is screwed before you've even begun. So if you can get that stuff right, it is like dynamite. It's powerful stuff. Powerful stuff.
Yeah. And tell me, I really like that what you just said about when you started your first company, it was all about just here I have you spotted an opportunity to earn money.
Yeah.
That was where your attention was money-based decision, basically. And what you're doing is so much more of a passion-based or purpose-based decisions, which is totally the opposite. It feels a bit, for me, when you say that, being Icelandic and before the crash, I think most businesses, or quite a bit of businesses over here, they were created because of just money-based decisions. And what I'm seeing now is the heart is more of people are putting more focus into the heart. So using your strategy on a page is such an important tool to help them in that process. So, which is beautiful. If you could give me just one bit of advice that would make the most impact on my business, what would it be?
I think it comes back to purpose. For me, I start everything with purpose. And this is something I think people need to go back to regularly, because purpose changes slightly over time. And sometimes it's ever so subtle. Like my purpose is pretty intact now for a good year to 18 months, but it's taken me years to dial it in. So I say the piece of advice is know why you exist as a company in the first place. And for me, there's 5 elements to that, which is what is the true passion of what you do, what is the service and value that you're giving, and what is the market opportunity for you to do good. If you get those 3 right, the 4th piece is you should be financially rewarded enough, and you've got to know what that means, because it's a lot of people in sort of the creative spaces, when you're kind of doing what you love to do and you're passionate in service, you can forget the money bit. It's actually flipped on its head, and the money is there to serve the lifestyle. So what I think's happened over the last decade, there's been a shift for the good, but it has a negative effect to it, which is a decade ago, certainly people were running for the money. That's come out of the generation above us, okay, where it was chasing the money, job for life, and it was just all fiscally instability and all the rest of it. Now that's gone. That world's gone, and we don't want it back, and that's where the passion-based businesses come from. With that's a danger, because when it's just purely passion-based, a lot of passion-based businesses end up being piss poor broke, because they're running the passion so much they forget about the money. Now, it's not about what that value of the money is. As long as it's enough to live the lifestyle you choose, you just got to work out what that is. So, my biggest piece of advice for anyone is start with purpose, go back to purpose regularly, and get that balance between the five. Because all of my clients that I work with, one-on-one, we go back and review purpose at least once every 6 months, just to go, are you sure? Is that where it's at? And there's such subtleties, particularly around the passion bit, which is what do you really love to do? And I think a lot of people misunderstand that question. It's like, no, really, what do you love to do? It's like, oh, I just love business, or I just love this. It's like, no, you've got to dial in exactly what specific actions you love, where exactly your passion is, because passion's it's a fleeting thing if you're not careful, and you can think you love the wrong thing, and actually by doing it for a while you might realize you don't love it as much as you thought you would. So that's the bit I would, bar none, I always start with purpose and the 5 elements of purpose.
The 5 elements of purpose. I myself, I use the passion test to help my clients. What tool do you use to help your clients to really into that?
We've got the sub tool under the page. So with strategy on a page, there's the 5 elements of purpose under that, and so we come and dial it in through our own methodology. But I love the work of the passion test. I think the passion test is awesome. I'm bringing it in. It's kind of a personal thing. There's a business thing. So within the 5 elements of purpose within strategy on a page, it's very business orientated, because we're putting a few things in there that wouldn't be put in a personal context. I.e., what's your financial purpose of the business? What's your lifestyle purpose of the business? So we've just come in from a slightly different angles, just for entrepreneurs and business owners.
Really good. Tell me, now you're going to be part of this very special event that we're setting up at the Blue Lagoon in Iceland, September 6th.
Yay.
I'm so honored that I get you to come, because I know you are a busy one. Can you tell us what will you be covering? What can our attendees expect to get from you during your session there?
Well, I'm probably going to be coming in from the strategy transformation. It's a transformational time right now. So the big piece, I'm using a number of different angles on the stage, but I think the one that's resonating most with the international audiences is transformation, and it's strategy for transformation, because I think a lot of people are going through a transition, a change, a shift, a transformation in their business and their lives. And so I'm looking to dial in that piece. I'm also looking to link it with all the other people. The cool thing is, my topic kind of links into all the other people there on the day, so I'll help to try to pull it all together and link that all. But equally, I'm going to be doing some live stuff. Me, I get into the audience and I kind of get amongst it, so people can come with their own questions and get, we will go live into the audience and really make sure that people are really served fully on the day during the session. But it's going to be strategies for transformations are going to be the key. And we're going to be probably dialing it into talent. I'm going to see who's in the room, but talent's probably going to be a hot subject for the day. How to get the top talent.
Wow, that's really something. So, strategy for transformation, and we are, out of the 9 speakers who are going to be there, I think we are 6 of us who are part of the Association of Transformational Leaders in Europe. So there will be a transformation that day at the Blue Lagoon for sure. I'm just going to hop in here and offer for people to take a look at, because we are offering a ridiculous price to attend the day in September 6th, which happened to be a Saturday, and a perfect excuse to pop into the next plane to Iceland, which is only 3-hour flights from the major European destinations and 5 hours from the US. So it's I know that so many people have Iceland on their bucket list, so I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to write it off your business as well. Don't you think, Deri?
Oh yeah, and as you know, I've been to Iceland and I've spent time in Reykjavik and the Blue Lagoon, so super excited to come back. I think the Blue Lagoon is, it was definitely on my bucket list, and I get to go again. So it's it's fabulous, and Reykjavik's just a beautiful city. So really looking forward to coming back over.
I am. I am. You can't imagine how excited I am. Anything? Just to finish off our really interesting conversation here. What strategy or tool software would you suggest to entrepreneurs, small business owners to look at?
Okay, so this is a bigger topic for me in that there's a couple of things. We run our own cloud-based software, which is for strategy. There's very few tools out there. Now, for me, strategy, we wanted strategy in the cloud, so that's what we've created, which means everything's there. But it's about strategy. First of all, it's about the strategic thinking. You have to go through a strategic thinking exercise, all right? So once you've kind of gone, this is my purpose, my vision, my values, this is what I stand for, this is who I am, then you put the plan in place and the strategy in place across all areas of the business to go, okay, and this is how I'm going to execute upon that. Then the trick is executing it. Yeah. And then a lot of people get on with executing it, or they think they do, but they don't measure it and they don't track it. So we created strategy in the cloud to enable that tracking piece. Now, the reason being is a lot of you with the best will in the world will have good plans or have good thoughts and thinking on what you need to do, but you won't do it. You will typically revert back to what you're good at and where your core skill asset lies. For instance, again, if we talk about the technician business owner, they know that they need to put operational systems in place. They know that they need to sort their finances out and get them in the cloud and understand their P&L and work their cash flows. They know they need to bring in talent into the business, and they know they got that next person who's going to be a critical hire. So when you sit down and do the thinking bit, it's pretty straightforward of knowing what you should do. Then they come out of the thinking piece and get back onto the hamster wheel, and then they just get on doing all the other stuff that needs to be done, and they don't actually execute. And it's sad. So for me, this is why strategy on a page needed to be executable, month in, month out, holding people accountable to what they said they were going to do and what's critical in their business. So we use strategy in the cloud, but that's also linked to lots of other software systems. And I think that's the key for all businesses out there. Technology is here, it's here to stay, and it's hugely empowering the entrepreneur. So, strategy in the cloud holds the highest level of the business accountable, but then you've got to look across all your systems. What's your CRM system for your customer relationship management? What's your operational system? What's your finance system? All of that, which used to cost tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of pounds, you can get for either free or for very little money on a monthly basis these days. So as entrepreneurs, we are empowered to use these amazing tools which can streamline and put efficiencies through our business like you wouldn't believe. So this is a huge topic, that the sort of software and tools, but I think it's something that's all entrepreneurs should be looking at right now and understanding what software are they using, what operational systems are they using, or what should they be using. Damn well with our business, Runa, we talk about it, the tech and the software that we've got running our businesses is it's key.
It's a key. It's absolutely the key. And I think it's what I've learned myself over the years as being an entrepreneur most of my adulthood life is the more I spent on things that are related to systems or something that is really helping me with all the online stuff that is out there that is really helping me to build my business, the more I earn. So it's really a mirror there. So I absolutely agree with you that it's essential. So, Deri, before we just end this, what are the things that you want to say to Icelanders who are going to spend time with us at the Blue Lagoon?
Well, not just the Icelanders. There's a message for the Icelanders clearly, but to all, because I know that this message is going out through Europe and America and everything else. So I just encourage you. I'm just super excited by the lineup. I know the audience is going to be pretty special, but I get to hang with 9 of my super cool friends as well. So the lineup that we've got in Iceland is pretty impressive, and they're my go-to people. They're my friends. This is you've got, was it 6 from the Association of Transformational Leaders?
Yeah, I think we're 6 of us. Yes.
So, for people who are not aware of the Association of Transformation Leaders, that is the leading body for transformation leaders across Europe. And I'm very blessed and honored to be part of that. And the kind of our peers within that group are amazing. And Rune has picked out the top 6, really. So well done, Rune. You've done pretty well on that one. So I was just super excited because I can get to hang with my peers. I'm really looking forward to the other sessions myself because you've got some incredible people lined up there, so I'm going to be sitting in the audience at the back myself, watching the talent from my peers. But it's going to be great. You know, you've got the lineup, you've got the location, and I think this should be treated as I think you said to the people. This is a 3-hour flight. Use this as your strategy retreat. This is your
Yeah.
opportunity to get away. Nice, and I'd really encourage you to spend some time either coming in early on the Friday or going out, you know, later on the Monday. Spend some time because you're going to take on a lot of good stuff during this day on the Saturday, and I'd really encourage you to spend the Sunday just kind of chilling, regrouping, take some opportunities to get in and experience Iceland, and use this to really take and think your business to the next level, because you're going to be in an amazing part of the world where the energy is incredible, and I'd really take the time, longer than just the Saturday. Spend some longer time there and just take this as your strategy retreat for the year.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Deri, for your insight, and thank you everyone who's been on this call. I look forward to seeing you in September, and stay tuned in what we have at least 2 other live interviews going on next week, so stay tuned with us. Thank you so much, Deri.
Take care. Great to see you all.
Bye. Bye.